Good Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, I had to think about it. I also kind of forgot that today was Wednesday because I had so many things going on earlier in the day. So apologies that I am so late on my video today. But hello, thank you for being here. I am so happy to, you know, be able to join you and for you to join me. So, on Monday, we talked a little bit about how last week was for me. Uh, because I had so many things going on during the week. I had two different schedules of things going on and a training that I was doing. So it's like I did not have any clients booked, thankfully, thank God. I had one client that she was able to move her appointment, thankfully. But um, it was very, very back to back to back to back. And if you can hear kid sounds, the kids are home, so that's why. But so my nervous system was very much on high alert. Like I wasn't just booked; I was like overbooked, and like I just recently quit my 9 to 5 job, so that is also kind of an adjustment period for my nervous system. And what's interesting is, like I knew this day was coming, and I'm very happy about it. But also, my nervous system and my subconscious is kind of like, you know, the 9 to 5 job is like guaranteed money, right? Like it's a source of comfort and security. And, like it means that you have to fully step into this entrepreneurship journey. So, yeah, it's totally normal to have that tiny voice running in the back of your head, kind of like, hello, this is not safe. So, my last week, it was a lot of long hours. Like I was up at 5 a.m. and going to bed at like 10:30, 11. It was like I was exhausted, and like things just were back to back, and there was not a lot of rest time in some of those areas. Yes, there were some mornings that I didn't have to be up at 5 a.m., thankfully, but I still had to take the kids to school at 6. So, or get up at 6 and take them to school. So, like there's, um, with trauma, one of the symptoms of trauma or fight or flight or nervous system, like, well, I'd say like more like the programming or belief system or limiting beliefs, right? That you can uh, essentially end up structuring your days based off things that have happened in the past or in your childhood, to where you do constantly overbook yourself, where you're constantly busy. And that's kind of where I came from. Like I was constantly busy and not giving myself any breaks, like always having to try to look good and prove my worth. Like I wore busy as a badge of honor, right? Like I wanted everybody to keep everyone else happy, even at the expense of myself, so that I can feel loved, so I can feel safe. So, what this looked like is a lot of like saying yes to things that I didn't want to say yes to, and um, going to events, making sure everybody's pleased, like bending over backwards. And, there is nothing wrong with having busy seasons, like every now and again. I knew that last week was going to be busy, and I accepted that. uh, but it's not the end of the world if like you have a busy week here or there, and you don't push your nervous system too far. But what matters is that you actually recognize it and you bring yourself back into that balance. So for me, again, last week I knew it was going to be intense, so I made sure to, like, my routine, like it was on point. Like I kept my grounding routine of like my morning rituals, like meditations, evening wind downs, my moments of stillness. So what helped me, like this was what helped me to navigate the chaos. Like this was yeah, making sure that I had some sort of balance in there, even though I knew there wasn't going to be a lot of time for that. So it's this week, like a lot of things, like I cleared a lot of things so that I could recover from last week. So this week is more about restoration. So, as a reminder, as we step into September, this is where a lot of entrepreneurs really like kick up the notch because, we're coming to the end of the year. So, we only have 4 months left, right? So, wait, is it three months left? Sorry. Anyways, but like things start to really pick up. We're in this like go 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 mode. We're trying to make our goals, and it's also when a lot of things start to come to fruition. Yes, we've been working throughout the year, but it's like this last part of it, like we're really I don't want to say like pounding the hammer, but we're really paying attention to and making very intentional, driven choices towards like where our energy is going to go, who we need to contact, blah blah blah, right? Like, so knowing that your nervous system needs balance if you want your success to actually feel good when it's arrived, like it's not it's not a bad thing to be grinding it out the past month or two or three of the year, but finding that time to actually take the rest and the time for yourself. This is commonly around the time that people say, like, you'll get 80% of the results in 20% of the work. Like, this is that time. We're doing that 20% of the work right now. So, we don't always pay attention to our body cues, and that's typically why we get into that kind of nervous system like dysregulation or burnout. Like, these are all buzzwords right now. People are really noticing that they're getting stuck in that fight or flight, freeze or fawn, which is your sympathetic state. And it often shows up in very subtle ways. Like, some of the most common signs, like that your nervous system is overworked, is that you feel exhausted even after sleeping, like constant fatigue, or maybe you like have trouble falling asleep. You're tired, but you're like wired, or even staying asleep. You can have headaches, you can have digestive issues, your clenched jaw, like, so notice that you have a really tight jaw, or like you're grinding your teeth down, or even like tension, like physical tension, like in your shoulders and your neck especially. Hello, me. It could be like tight chest or rapid heartbeats or palpitations, or maybe you have like really low immunity and you're just constantly getting sick. This also, as I, sniffle, this also can show up as emotional signs. So, like, maybe you're anxious or you're restless or you're irritable and you're snapping and like numb. You go numb, or like numb out, or flatness, right? You're really disconnected, or you have this like constant sense of dread, like something bad's gonna happen, or feeling like really overly responsible for everyone else's emotions. And then mentally, like brain fog, poor memory, difficulty focusing, constant overthinking or looping thoughts, feeling like you can't shut your brain off, decision fatigue, hypervigilance. Like, these are all getting down to like the emotional intelligence piece. And then behavior wise, it could be, again, like overworking, overscheduling. This is, what's interesting is like we put ourselves in these situations because of traumas that have happened in the past, because of, things that we made to believe about ourselves from the past. So these responses are giving us something. Like we are getting something out of those responses. Like for some people, it may be so somebody feels sorry for them, right? Like, oh, you're doing so much, let me help you. Or like they want to wear like the busyness as a badge of honor, right? Like they want that recognition. They want people to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you do all that, you must be Wonder Woman, right? Like, so think about that. Like all of these things that we have in our lives that we, you know, might consider as like negative or personality traits that are unfavorable, we have them because we do get some, it's like a reward, some sort of thing in the end. So that I just went off on a tangent on that, but like other signs might be maybe you avoid responsibilities, like you completely like shut down or freeze, or you eat, emotional eating, or using substances so that you can calm down, or you have difficulty saying no or setting boundaries, or even like really feeling disconnected from like joy and creativity and pleasure. So the big picture is a burnt out nervous system often flips between like hyper arousal, like anxiety and overdrive and busy mode, and then hypo arousal. So this is where you get that numbness and exhaustion and disconnection. Is essentially your body's way of saying like, I can't keep going at this pace. I need to regulate. So it's essentially like if you're in like you don't sway too much, but like you're kind of in the middle and neutral and like really level, that is actually a good thing. That's a good place to be. But it's when we have these like drastic swings, right? Like do, and then like avoid, right? So that's when we want to really look at what am I doing? Why am I doing it? What can I do to regulate and calm down and come out of this? So just something to really ponder here. Maybe a little bit of homework is to really focus and look at those areas of your life that like, where am I avoiding? Where am I doing something that I like, if I saw somebody else do it, I'd be like, why are they doing that, right? So just something to notice. That being said, we do have some nervous system regulation that's coming up at the end of the month. So we are going to be doing a 3-day, I'd say like master class, maybe a little bit of talking about like rewiring and how your brain works. And then we're going to be going right into a healing day event on Thursday night at the I guess the end of September, beginning of October. So it's going to be the last week of September going into October. So we'll be doing a little master class right before, and then the next day we will be healing our nervous system. So it's going to be a big fun day. So definitely watch out for that announcement of the dates and the times. And I really hope to see you there. I love you all for being in my community, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Bye now.